Have you ever checked your bank account, even though you already knew what was in it? You swipe open the app, hold your breath for half a second, and there it is. The same numbers, nothing catastrophic. And yet your chest tightens anyway. Maybe you stock up on groceries just in case. Maybe you scroll through economic news at midnight like you're monitoring a storm on the horizon. Or maybe you quietly imagine the worst. Losing your job, markets crashing, savings evaporating, everything you built slipping through your fingers. From the outside it can look irrational. Relax, people say. The economy isn't collapsing, but here's the strange truth. Fear of financial collapse isn't really about money. It's about safety, control, survival. And your brain takes that very seriously. Let me show you why. Imagine two people watching the same news report about inflation rising. One shrugs and changes the channel. The other feels their heart rate spike. They start calculating rent, food, fuel, emergency fund, worst-case scenarios. Same data, completely different reaction. Why? Because your brain doesn't respond to money as currency. It responds to money as a survival signal. Deep in your nervous system, the amygdala, your brain's threat detector, doesn't understand stock markets or GDP. It understands scarcity. It understands loss. It understands the primal terror of not having enough. Thousands of years ago, not enough meant starvation or exile. Today it might mean missing a mortgage payment. Different context, same wiring. And here's where it gets interesting. For people who fear financial collapse, their brain often treats abstract economic uncertainty as if it were a saber-toothed tiger pacing outside the cave. The threat feels immediate, personal, urgent. But that's only part of the story. I once spoke with someone who had a stable job, a healthy savings account, no debt, and constant anxiety about losing everything. Every time the market dipped, he imagined homelessness. Every time his company reorganized, he mentally packed up his desk. Logically, he knew the odds were low. Emotionally, it felt inevitable. When we traced it back, it wasn't about spreadsheets. It was about childhood. He grew up in a household where money was unpredictable. Some months were comfortable. Others were chaos. Bills whispered about at the dinner table. Tension in the air. The subtle message absorbed by his nervous system wasn't money fluctuates. It was security can vanish at any moment. Your brain remembers that. Even if you don't. Psychologists sometimes talk about financial attachment styles. Just like we form attachment patterns in relationships, we form patterns around money. If your early experiences linked money with instability, shame, or sudden loss, your nervous system may remain on high alert long after your circumstances improve. So when you fear financial collapse, you might not be reacting to today. You might be reacting to yesterday. There's also something called loss aversion, studied extensively in behavioral economics. Research shows that humans feel the pain of losing money about twice as intensely as the pleasure of gaining the same amount. Losing $100 hurts more than finding $100 feels good. That asymmetry matters. For someone already sensitive to financial threat, this bias becomes magnified. Every potential downturn feels catastrophic. Every dip feels like the beginning of the end. It's not drama. It's math inside your brain. And then there's the illusion of control. Money for many people represents stability in a chaotic world. You can't control politics, you can't control natural disasters, you can't control global markets, but you can save, budget, invest, plan. When someone fears financial collapse, often what they're really fearing is the loss of control. The idea that no matter how carefully you prepare, forces beyond you could still wipe it all away, that's existential. That's not just about money, that's about vulnerability. And here's the paradox. People who fear financial collapse are often the most responsible with money. They save aggressively. They research investments. They build emergency funds. On the surface, they look prudent. Underneath, there's a quiet alarm that never fully turns off. It's like living in a house with a smoke detector that's slightly too sensitive. It hasn't caught a real fire yet. But it beeps at burnt toast, at steam from the shower. It keeps you vigilant. It also keeps you tense. The media environment doesn't help. We are constantly fed worst-case headlines. Market crash imminent, recession looms, debt crisis approaches. Your brain is not designed to process global risk 24/7. Historically, your world was your village. Now it's the planet. Every economic tremor anywhere becomes a potential personal threat. And because negative information sticks more strongly, a phenomenon called negativity bias, you're more likely to remember the crash of 2008 than the steady growth years in between. Your mind builds a narrative. Collapse is always around the corner. Let's zoom in on something else. For some people, fear of financial collapse is tightly linked to identity. If you see yourself as the provider, the stable one, the responsible adult, then financial failure doesn't just threaten your lifestyle. It threatens who you are. What would it say about me if I lost everything? That unspoken question can be heavier than any mortgage. There's also a cultural layer. Many societies equate financial success with moral worth. If you're wealthy, you're disciplined. If you struggle, you must have failed somehow, even when that's not true. So financial collapse isn't just loss of money, it can feel like loss of dignity. No wonder the fear runs deep, but here's something powerful. Fear of financial collapse often signals that you value security, responsibility, and foresight. Those aren't weaknesses, they're strengths. The problem isn't the instinct to prepare, it's when preparation turns into perpetual panic. Your nervous system can't tell the difference between planning for risk and living inside imagined disaster. If you constantly replay worst-case scenarios, your body responds as if they're happening now. Cortisol rises, muscles tense, sleep fragments. Over time, chronic financial anxiety can become a baseline state, and ironically, chronic anxiety narrows your thinking. Under threat, your brain shifts into survival mode. You become more risk-averse, more rigid, less creative. That can actually make financial decision-making worse. So what's the shift? It starts with recognizing that your fear makes sense, not because collapse is guaranteed, but because your brain is wired to protect you from scarcity. Instead of fighting that fear or shaming yourself for it, you can get curious about it. When you feel that spike of anxiety reading economic news, pause. Ask yourself, is this about today's reality or an old memory of instability? Sometimes just separating past from present lowers the volume. You can also redefine what security means. Many people equate security with a specific number in the bank, but true security includes skills, relationships, adaptability, and resilience. Economies fluctuate. Skills compound. Communities support. You are more than your balance sheet. Historically, humanity has survived plagues, depressions, wars, hyperinflation, and technological revolutions. Financial systems shift, people adapt. That doesn't invalidate the fear, it contextualizes it. And here's a deeper layer. Fear of financial collapse can be a doorway into understanding your relationship with uncertainty itself. Some people tolerate ambiguity well. Others experience it as almost physically painful. If uncertainty triggers you, money becomes the battleground because it's quantifiable. It feels controllable. But life is not fully controllable. No matter how much you save, there's a quiet maturity in accepting that. Not giving up, not being reckless, but acknowledging that absolute security is an illusion. And that's okay. You can still plan, you can still save, you can still be prudent. But you don't have to live as if disaster is inevitable. If this resonates with you, you're not broken. You're not paranoid. You're a human nervous system trying to anticipate danger in a complex world. And maybe the next time you open your banking app and feel that familiar flicker of anxiety, you'll see it differently. Not as proof that collapse is coming, but as your brain saying, I want you safe. You can thank it, and then gently remind it, we are okay right now. That small shift, from catastrophe to present reality, can change everything. If this conversation sparked something for you, I'd love to hear your perspective. Do you see yourself in this pattern? What shaped your relationship with money? Let's talk about it. And if you want to explore more about the hidden psychology shaping your everyday decisions, stay with me. There's a lot more under the surface than we realize.